Welcome back. We're now into one of the most exciting parts of the program. One of the greatest gifts I believe we can teach anyone is how to take the visions in their head and make these visions reality in the world in as fast a time as possible. Before you get there, you got to make sure that the visions in your head are the right visions. They are the visions that truly come from your soul and not from outside peer pressure. This is why we just trained you on how to use the tools of intuition. And we trained you on the three most important questions so that you get crystal clear clarity on the experiences, the growth, and the contributions that you want to discover and make in the world. Now we come to the fun bit. How do we use our faculties of consciousness to accelerate our movement towards these visions? Today, you're going to learn about how thoughts create reality. And while you may have heard this phrase before, thanks to popular films and books such as The Secret, what you're going to learn here is a far more advanced nuance for this. First, let's look at the scientific evidence. The Australian sports psychologist Alan Richardson did a fascinating study on creative visualization. He took 3 groups of people and tested their improvements in basketball, free throws. One group was asked to practice on an actual basketball court. The other group was told to do absolutely nothing. And the third group was told to practice in their mind using creative visualization. Now, what Alan Richardson found, obviously, is that the middle group that did nothing really showed hardly any improvement. The group practicing on the courts improved their free throw ability by 24%. But here's the crazy thing. Group C that practice purely in their mind using creative visualization improved their free throw ability by 23%. That's pretty powerful. So we know for sure that creative visualization is almost as powerful as real-world practice. And other studies have shown that when you combine both, you actually have the best overall results. Now, in studies of muscle building, scientists have shown that if you visualize your body exercising, oddly enough, you actually get the benefits of exercise. Let's ask a bigger question. What about scenarios where some people claim that creative visualization and other such tools that we put under the bucket of manifesting, actually shift reality, generate luck, and make things which are highly improbable happen? I believe this because I've witnessed this over and over and over and over again in my life. And I'm not the only one. Many of the most remarkable individuals I've met in the world. I'm talking men and women who have built companies and they are hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm talking billionaires swear by the same thing. They swear by their daily meditation practice and the amount of time they spend visualizing and creating things in their head. But they do not openly talk about it because in today's world, you still might get labeled as hokey. Now, the world is changing. I couldn't openly speak about meditation in 2003. I had to hide the fact from my own friends that I was a meditation teacher. Today, if you aren't doing meditation, you're kind of looked down upon. 44% of the Fortune 100 companies offer meditation training to their employees. The world has changed dramatically in 15 years. I predict in the next 10 years, we will be having open conversations publicly about the benefits of intuition and the benefits of what I call bending reality, the art of using the mind to shift reality in your favor. So here is the craziest story I've heard. Scott was an engineer at Bell Labs. And of course, like many engineers, he believed that the entire world had to be explained by science. And if science couldn't explain something, it was hocus. It just wasn't real. One day, Scott attended a party. And he wrote about what happened. He met a woman there who was a psychic. And immediately, he decided that he was going to debunk her because psychics were fake. Now, he decided to challenge her. He mentioned, all right, read me, like tell me what's up with my body. And the woman mentioned something really odd, that he had a rash under his armpit. Now, this baffled him because that wasn't something you could get from cold reading. I mean, it's so awkward to have someone point out the rash under your armpit when you are fully dressed, and it's not something that a typical person would talk about. But she was right. She went on to mention that he had a fear of water, which was also correct. This made him a believer. Now, because of this, he decided to start investigating the mind, and he discovered this thing called affirmations. The process he learned he said, was really, really, really simple. You had to write down on a piece of paper 20 times what you wanted in life. So he decided he wanted more money. So he wrote down, I will make money in the stock market. I will make money in the stock market. He wrote it down 20 times. He went on to say that for the first few days, nothing happened, but very rapidly, something strange happened. He suddenly had an inkling to buy Chrysler stock. Now, at that time in history, Chrysler as a company was going through a dip. But he decided to listen to this intuitive impulse and buy Chrysler stock. Almost immediately, he said, Chrysler stock started to take off and he made a good chunk of money. By the way, side note, there's a lesson there. Remember what I said a few days ago. When you give your mind a command, intuition is activated. He gave his mind a command, make money in the stock market. Intuition was activated, Chrysler stock. Now, it didn't stop then. He continued asking his mind to figure out how he could make money in the stock market. The next thing he decided to do was challenge himself to dream bigger. He decided he wanted to get into the Berkeley MBA program. Now, we knew that the odds of getting into the Berkeley MBA program, one of the foremost MBA programs in the world, was strikingly low. To get into an MBA program, you have to take a test called the GMAT. The GMAT tests your overall intelligence. They say that no matter how hard you study for the GMAT, you rarely ever can boost your score. Scott took the GMAT and kept getting just under 80, nowhere close to the 96th percentile needed to get into Berkeley. But he kept up with the affirmations. He kept up focusing his mind on this outcome. When he received his final results from the GMAT testing board, and he knew he was going to get a 96, and he did. He ended up getting into Berkeley. Now, Scott didn't stop there. He'd made money in the stock market. He got into a dream school. And now he decided to try his hand at something bigger. He decided he didn't want to just be an engineer. He wanted to follow his passion, his soul, which told him that he should dabble at cartoons. He should be a syndicated cartoonist. His cartoon, called Dilbert, got accepted. And he became Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert. Scott didn't stop there. Scott decided that he was going to have a New York Times best-selling book. In the late 90s, his book hit #1. Didn't stop there. His second book hit #2. Briefly, Scott Adams had the #1 and #2 book on the New York Times. He went on to start a TV show, Dilbert, start a food company, the Dil Burrito. Scott Adams became an icon in American pop culture, and it all started in his mind, applying the tools of manifesting. Now, Scott wrote about this in his book. I believe it was The Dilbert Future. You can read his take on the entire story. He doesn't suggest that he knows what's going on, but he does say that there is something strange happening, and that our mind has the ability to shift the world around us. So let's just pretend reality is an illusion. You don't have to understand how the mind shifts the world. You simply have to believe that you're lucky. There's an interesting study that shows that all else being equal, believing that you're lucky makes you lucky. In the book, The Luck Factor by Richard Wiseman, the author suggests that people who expect luck will notice lucky situations more frequently and act on them. What I want you to do is to have an open mind. And if you already have an open mind and you already believe that your thoughts create reality, what you're going to learn here is by far some of the best approaches I've discovered in my 20 years researching this field to help you bring this power about. I've used this to do some incredible things in my life. And what many people don't know is that I'm currently testing out these abilities on bigger and bigger goals to see just how far I can push the ability of my mind toward reality. My first goal was to build an incredible company doing 20 million in revenue. Did that. Then the next goal was to get this company to 100 million in revenue with no VCs. And to do so while having a life where I could be incredibly healthy, I could travel, I could live my dreams. Just did that. My next goal is to take the company to 1 billion plus. And then my goal after that is to make 1 billion and give it away. I put down a date for that, May 2049. Don't know if I'll get there, but I'm pretty sure I will. But the reason I give myself these seemingly ridiculously big goals is because I'm fascinated thus far by what I'm able to do with my mind-shifting reality. And just like intuition, I believe it's a muscle. You have to exercise it. I give myself these big goals the same way a runner would want to run a marathon and then run a triathlon and then go for something even more extreme. to keep moving forward. You can do the same. But like Scott Adams, you want to start with something easy that you believe is possible. And as your belief system grows, you take on bigger and bigger and bigger goals. Jose Silva had some profound words on this. When he wrote about the mind influencing reality, he said it's important. Don't jump the gun. You must start with something you believe is possible. As you do that, your reservoir of faith expands. Then you take on bigger and bigger and bigger things. In other words, don't try to use your mind to heal cancer before you can heal dandruff. I hope that makes sense. In today's lesson, you're going to learn a number of different tools on how to bring these abilities into your life. Before we get to the tools, I want to share with you a really fascinating story about Steve Jobs. Yes, I know I've brought up Steve Jobs many times before, and the reason is because, well, I'm a geek, I'm an engineer, and a lot of the people who watch my program live, work, and thrive in Silicon Valley. In Jobs' biography by Walter Isaacson, Walter shared some fascinating insights in Steve Jobs. And one of the things that he shared was Steve Jobs' belief that his mind could warp reality. In fact, the word bend reality is mentioned 3 times in the biography. This is one of those instances. At the root of his reality distortion field was his belief that the rules did not apply to him. He had evidence for this. In his childhood, he had often been able to bend reality to his desires. He had a sense that he was a chosen one. He thinks that there are few people who are special, like Einstein and Gandhi and the gurus he met in India. And he's one of them. Note, Steve Jobs believed in this idea so firmly. He in fact believed in this idea so deeply that in Walter Isaacson's biography of Steve Jobs, Walter said shortly before Steve died, he asked Steve, "So what books do you have in your iPad?" And Steve had only one book. Walter said it was a book he read frequently, over and over and over again. It was Paramahansa Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi. The people who attended Steve Jobs' funeral, including Bill Gates, were all given a copy of this book, Autobiography of a Yogi. What is the book about? It's a book by an Indian philosopher yogi called Paramahansa Yogananda, who suggests that our mind shifts reality. When you read that book, you will understand just how far you can go with your mind. So let's get started with the tools for today. When you practice creative visualization, the first thing you want to do, and this advice comes from Jose Silva, is to ensure that what you're visualizing isn't happening on the back of your eyelids. Rather, it's being projected on a screen in front of you. This is called the mental screen. Your mental screen is like a giant television set or a giant movie screen. It is at least 6 feet in front of you. It's huge, and it's on what you're going to project that which you're visualizing. So let's play around with that for a moment. I'm going to guide you into your meditation, and you're going to do a simple visualization, a super basic level 1 visualization using your mental screen. Now, I want you to open up your 3 most important questions and pick something from the experiences category, something that you truly want to experience in your life. Maybe it's that bike trip across Latin America. Maybe it's experiencing being a father or a mother. Maybe it's hiking the Himalayas. Pick whatever matters to you. Now, find a comfortable position, and we're about to go into our meditation. This time as we go into the meditation, I'm no longer going to do the full head to toe relaxation. As you practice, it becomes easier and faster for you to get to your alpha level of mind, your relaxed level of mind. So I'm going to guide you to that level and take you through the mental screen idea. I want you to take a deep breath. And as you exhale, mentally see the number 3 times. 3, 3, 3. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, mentally see the number 2 3 times. 2, 2, 2. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, mentally see the number 1 3 times. 1, 1, 1. You are now in a deeper, relaxed level of mind. Relax your head. Relax your eyes. Relax your jaw. Relax your neck. Relax your shoulders. Relax your arms. Relax your chest. Relax your abdomen. Relax your thighs, your legs, your feet. You're now deeply relaxed. We will do the 10 to 1 countdown exercise to take you into an even deeper, more relaxed state of mind. 10, 9, 8, 7, deeper and deeper, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're now in a deeply relaxed state of mind. You can use this level to accomplish anything you desire. In front of you, I want you to see a mental screen. This screen should be the size of a giant TV screen, the most expensive TV you've ever seen. It should be at least 6 feet in front of you, at a comfortable angle. On the screen, you're going to project the image of one of your goals from your 3 most important questions. I want you to imagine for a minute or 2 as if you're seeing this goal already occurring. See yourself in this situation, having this experience. As you see this on your mental screen, remember to see it in full color. See as much color as you can. Make it vivid and real. Hear sounds and pay attention to other senses. What do you hear? What do you touch? Where are you? As you see the scene, remember to bring in emotions. What are you feeling? What are the emotions within you? Happiness? Bliss? Now slowly bring the scene to an end. You just practice using the mental screen and creating a basic creative visualization of a goal or a vision that you want to attain. I'm now going to count from 1 to 5 to bring you out of your meditation. 1, 2, 3, coming out slowly now. 4, 5. Eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health. Feeling better than before. Congratulations. You just did a really basic creative visualization. Many of you perhaps have done that before. The nuance that you just learned here is the idea of the mental screen. In the following days, we're going to add more and more advanced techniques to this to allow whatever you're seeing on your mental screen to start coming into your life in faster and faster intervals of time. I will see you tomorrow.